Guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining me today. So yesterday I did a video about how I just placed an order for a Tesla Model Y, brand new 2024 Model Y long range. And someone left a comment down below. I want to respond with a video. Someone had a serious question. They asked, but why not the performance Model Y? So today's video I want to get into the numbers, really give you some of the information as to why I decided on the long range and kind of break it down. Now my situation might be a little different than yours. My considerations. So this is just the thought process, the analytics that went behind the decision to purchase the long-range version of the Model Y. So I have here on the board the list of stats of the Model Y. So I want to show you the deal that I got on the Model Y long range, and then let's look at the performance version and just see kind of how it stacks up number-wise, and then I'll explain kind of why I chose what I chose. But so the long range Y that I picked up, the deal that I got almost had $4,400 off of the MSRP. So this was the purchase price, $44,580. That's before their fees and taxes. A similar performance version. So if I'm looking just at inventory vehicles, Tesla doesn't discount their performance versions as much as they're doing their long range. It's for whatever reason, Tesla just has better discounts and better incentives and better markdowns on their Model Y long range, which that's a big reason why I purchased that. But a similar version of the performance car I can find on their website. They don't have any incentives, hardly any discounts or markdowns on the car. So the one I can find that's comparable is $53,490. That one does have white interior, and right now Tesla is having a incentive where existing owners can get the free color or interior upgrade. So that'd be $1,000 off that. So essentially this car would be $52,490. That's a difference of $7,900 between the long range and the performance. Now let's get into the performance here and the stats. 310 miles on the long range, 279 miles for the performance. I've owned a Tesla for almost 4 years now. The biggest concern that I have after owning a car for almost 4 years is range. I want to get the car that has the highest range possible. If the performance had higher range, it might be a better contender. But 31 miles of range is a big deal when it comes to road trips. If you're road tripping these cars, you're only using 80% of your battery pack, because when you're using a supercharger, you're not charging the car from 80% to 100%. You never charge that long, because it's going to take you 30 minutes to get from 80% to 100%. So really, you get into the supercharger with 10%, you charge up to 70 to 80%, that takes you 15-20 minutes. It's just not feasible, it's not practical to charge the car up to 100%. So really, you're only living on the bottom 80% of your pack. That top 20% really isn't even achievable, it's not usable on road trips. So range is the biggest consideration. So when I'm looking at a Tesla now, after having some experience with these cars, I want the car with the longest range, and that's going to be obviously the long range. 31 miles doesn't sound like a huge deal, but it is when you're on a road trip, and that extra 31 miles can get you to the next supercharger. You know, you can skip over a supercharger, for example. That makes a difference when you're taking like a long road trip. So the 0 to 60 times here, so the base Model Y long range, 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds. This is where the performance does have better stats. 3.5 seconds is a big difference, 1.3 seconds difference. However, I will say this doesn't apply to everyone though, but like I've luckily had a few people use my referral link to order their Tesla, so I have some referral points, and I can redeem that for the acceleration boost. So in the long range, you can upgrade your car. It's a software upgrade. You can software unlock more acceleration out of it. It will drop it to 4.2 seconds. I think that's like 10,000 referral credits, or it's like $2,000, which it's not worth $2,000, but if you have some referral credits, it's worth doing that, because then the difference is only 0.7 seconds difference. So that's like around a half a second difference. Yeah, this is quicker, but 4.2 seconds is pretty quick for the car, and I really don't need the car that's faster than that. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have a car that fast, but this is plenty fast for everyday use. You're still quicker than most cars on the road, so it's not a big difference. So I don't really, the 0 to 60 isn't that big of a deal. Now, a couple of the things that you get extra with the performance version that we need to take into the equation, I want to address these. With the performance version, you do get 21-inch the Uber turbine wheels. They're a staggered setup, very low profile tires. They look awesome. It's the best looking wheel on the Model Y for sure. That's included here. This base version only includes the 19-inch hubcap version wheels, which don't look great, which I'll take off, but you do get that. However, I will say this. I did this on my last car. I'm going to do it on this car. I can take off those 19-inch wheels and sell them for around $1,400 to $1,500. I did that on my last one. I'll do that again on this one. And then for about that same amount of money or a little bit more, I can get the 20-inch wheels that come as an option on the long range and have tires on them. So I was able to do that on my last car. So really, I almost had like a free wheel upgrade. So that's not a big consideration here. And the 21-inch wheels on the Performance, they're just super heavy, and that's really what's cutting this range down. There's also a carbon fiber spoiler upgrade. It does look cool. You can also get it aftermarket, and it's not that much money to buy an aftermarket version, so it's not worth to upgrade to the entire Performance trim just for that spoiler. There are some brake pedal and acceleration pedal covers you can get. I mean, you can get them for $30-40 on Amazon, and it looks the same. They do have brakes. The brake, it does probably have a bigger braking system, probably bigger calipers, rotors. So that's something probably you can't replicate as easily with this. But given that $7,900 difference, I bet you can see also that the value here is with the long range. Better range. You can get close on the acceleration side, but the range is the big difference, and just the value, $44,580 for this car. That's a heck of a deal versus $52,490 for this Performance version. If it was like a $2,000 difference, if it was only $2,000 difference, then this would be a compelling argument because you're getting the wheel upgrade included, you get a few extra things, and the acceleration. I would probably consider it at that point, but not at $7,900. It just does not make sense. It just seems like Tesla, how they're working with their pricing right now, this is in March of 2024, is they're favoring the long-range version of the Model Y. They really want to push those cars. I think that's the sweet spot. That's where the real value is. This doesn't, financially, value-wise, it just doesn't make sense for this one. So there is another trim to consider. Tesla does have the rear-wheel drive trim, and that's kind of the lowest trim. It's the slowest. It's got the least amount of range. So, for example, the cheapest one that I can find in my area. Now, I'm only looking at inventory cars. I'm not looking at ones that like ordering one, because I bought one that was in inventory, and I got almost $4,400 off the MSRP. The rear-wheel drive trim, the most they have off right now is about $2,000. So the cheapest one I could find was $41,790. So just over, it's about $2,000 off of like the MSRP. This had really no options. It was just like the stealth grade, black interior, no other options. But it only has 260 miles of range, and the 0 to 60 is a much slower at 6.6 seconds. So it's only rear-wheel drive. You know, the difference between $41,790 and the $44,580, you know, we're only talking, you know, just over $3,000. It's worth it to get the long range over this car. This is just not enough range, and this is just not quick enough. This is the slowest car that Tesla's ever made, 6.6 seconds 0 to 60. I haven't driven this car. I'm not sure how that feels, but it probably feels like this car in like chill mode acceleration, I would guess. This car needs to be $5,000 or $6,000 less than this car for this to even to be a consideration. So really the sweet spot is right here on the long range, because this car does qualify for the tax credit. It has good acceleration, it's got dual motor, and it's got the best range of any of the cars. So that's why I chose this car. This is most likely going to replace my Model S Performance that I've been driving around. Also, I'm transferring full self-driving, and I'm transferring my free supercharging from my 2013 Model S to this car. And I wanted to have a car that was like a good value. That was really what I wanted it for, because if this car eventually can do what Tesla states it does, and that is it's a robo-taxi and it can really drive itself, I wanted to have like a long range that has the best amount of range, has decent acceleration. Kind of my considerations when looking at the car that I bought. I really wanted the best value for the best range. Really kind of the best bang for your buck is going to be the Model Y long range. Guys, hopefully that helps you. Hopefully it gives you some consideration when looking at these cars. It all boils down to price. You know, it really does. If this was only $2,000 difference, I probably would have gone this route. If this was $6,000 less than this one, I might have gone this route. So this is the sweet spot, I feel, in their pricing right now. That can change over time. Again, we're in end of March of 2024, so take that into consideration. But it's good to look at a comparison of all the trims and which one's going to give you the best value. But guys, thanks for watching the video. If you have any additional comments on this, if you If you chose one of these trims, maybe leave in the comments down below why you chose that trim. What was your considerations? But guys, thanks for watching the video. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks.